Does anybody else wonder why there are so many people struggling recording themselves on TikTok and it seems like nobody just helps each other out? I wonder that too every time I watch these videos. So this is what we're going to do today. Hello, welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. I'll do velocity banking, pay off debt while I watch people struggle because that's just the world that we live in. And yeah, let's go ahead and see what's up.
I hate being vulnerable online, but I just have to be so for real with y'all for a second. Oop. I just have to be so for real with y'all for a second. I work 40 hours a week and I'm broke. Like, I'm consistently broke. And I don't mean like, oh, I have just enough to pay my bills. No, 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 no. No. Credit card payments are late almost every month. The rent and the car payment are the only things that are like consistently on time. Everything else is like, mm, I don't know how to prosper. I'm in my 20s and I feel like I'm constantly stressed out about the world, about my finances, about politics. I don't know how the we're supposed to thrive in these conditions. And everybody's always like, oh, just find things to be happy. Everything costs money. I live in New York City. I leave my house and I spend $50 unintentionally. I don't know what to do, you guys. I don't know what to do. And it's so fucking jarring, like to sit here and watch influencers and watch reality TV sometimes and hear that people are paying $7,000 a month for rent and $12,000 a month for rent. Like, wow. I, wow, $12,000? That's crazy.
I wouldn't know how to make it in New York City either. In fact, let me ask, how much money do you need to make it in New York City? 138 to 158? That seems kind of low. Okay, well, a family of four needs about $300,000 to meet similar standards. So if you're a single adult, 138 to 158 is fine, but if you have a family, you need to make over $300,000. Interesting. All right, well, let's get to it. So I'll be honest, if I lived in New York City, I wouldn't know how to make it either. So I guess the answer would just be move out, right? So let's go ahead and do this and do velocity banking. So what is velocity banking? It's a debt payoff strategy, and it's just really marketing for not saving money, right? It's just a fancy way to say, hey, just don't save money. And if you have debt, just throw all your money into debt and use a line of credit to help you pay off all your debt. That's all velocity banking is. So as you can see right here, we have someone who makes $6,400 a month. Now, if you actually do the calculations, that's more than $100,000 a year. And this person who makes more than $100,000 a year got some credit card debt, auto loan, student loan, and mortgage. And if you take a look at this mortgage, it's considered to be pretty cheap nowadays. And we're only spending about $1,500 a month on personal expenses. So you could make an argument that even nowadays, like $100,000 is not really that much, right? And the worst part is that because of how taxes work, it's like the more money you make over that $100,000 line. I don't think it's exactly $100,000, but the more money you make, the less you get to keep because the additional income that you make gets taxed, right? They call it marginal tax rates. So, if you want to make an extra $1,000, you have to kind of work a little bit harder or negotiate better to get a better pay. But yeah, so $6,400, and let's say you have 6,000, almost $400 in expenses, and then $2.99 in your checking and savings. And so here we have how many credit cards? Six credit cards, an auto loan, a student loan, and a mortgage. And this is a very cheap mortgage nowadays. You could consider this to be like maybe like a 2020 mortgage. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste this. Yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste. And we're not gonna save money. I mean, basically velocity banking is kind of the same thing as not saving money and using a line of credit to help you do that, right? And so how much debt do we have? Or at least in the credit cards, it's 5, 8, 15, 27, 35. Let's go ahead and sum this up. So that's $90,000 of credit card debt. Okay, $90,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume we have, I don't know, $100,000 home equity line of credit. and we're going to move that $90,000 of credit card debt into the home equity line of credit. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of this thing called a cash flow index, but all it is a formula of debt divided by a payment, and then it gives you a ranking. And so the lower the number, that's the one you want to pay off first because it'll give you more of something called your cash flow. So let's go ahead and move these low ranking numbers into the line of credit. And so this is probably going to be a home equity line of credit, $100,000 free and clear. Now, would a bank give you a free and clear line of credit if you have $2.99 left over? And the answer to that is no. Why? It's because banks don't lend money to people who need it. So why am I showing you a free and clear line of credit? It's because I'm lazy and I actually have a live stream that's under a paywall where we showed, I think it was $4 and something cents left over and there's 22 debts. And that's where I put my thinking cap on. But because this video is free, I'm just going to be a little bit lazy and just say, hey, we have a free and clear line of credit, even though that's not realistic because banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? Moral of the story is get all the credit you need before you ever need it, right? Okay, so let's say we move $90,000 of credit card debt into the line of credit. Well, guess what happens here, right? Oh my goodness, these all turn to zero, right? So magically we turn 299 of checking and savings, leftover checking and savings, into $0 of checking and savings and $3,579.99 of cash flow. And the income is the same. The expenses pretty much the same. We just did some shuffling around of expenses, but they're pretty much the same. And then now, because we didn't save money, we're just throwing all our money into debt, right? So the last step is we throw all this entire paycheck into the line, which satisfies the minimum monthly payment. $6,400 is going to satisfy a minimum monthly payment. And you take your expenses out and then rinse and repeat over and over again. So how does this look like represented in Excel? Well, take the previous month's balance, previous month's interest minus the cash flow, which is 3057.99. And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, and then you divide by 12, right? So minimum payment is about $580. So when you dump that $3,000 into that line of credit, it's going to satisfy that payment. All right, so let's go ahead and do that and see how long it takes for us to pay off the initial $90,000 credit card debt. Okay, so it's going to take 33 months. So a little bit less than 3 years, 2 years and I think 9 months. So this is going to be 90K, 2 years, so 33 months. Okay, so we paid off all our credit card debt. Sweet. And now we have this loan calculator here, where all I just got to do is put 33, the current month, and it's going to give me the current balances of the loans as well as the cash flow indexes. So you see that this is a very low number, so just think of this as a ranking system. Lowest number gives you more bang for your buck for paying off the debt because it's based on a ratio of the balance divided by the payment. So if I pay off this 9,000, I get $359 in my cash flow. And then let's go ahead and do that. So I am going to move this debt. Let's see. So this is going to be plus 9357 or 93371 9371.54. And then because we just shuffled that debt, now this becomes zero. So we get an extra $300 back in our cash flow. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. All right. And whoopsie. Yeah. So let me just update this. So this is going to be minus 3417.37. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. And then we see that it really didn't make a difference in the number of months the debt was paid off. It's 3 more months. But it kind of made a slight impact on the interest that we pay. All right, so now 36 months, the card note is paid off, right? So now, so it's going to be 11 okay in 36 months. And then now we have the student loan and the mortgage. So 36 months, so 0, 36, 36, right? So we have $37,000 in our student loan. Now, should we move this whole thing into a line of credit? Probably not. I would do something called chunking, but chunking is something you definitely need to do on a 30-year mortgage. So the more there is a difference between the interest rate and the longer there's a term, you don't want to move the whole thing into a line of credit. You probably end up paying more interest than you have to. But because I'm lazy, I'll just move this $37,000 into the line of credit. I'll probably end up paying a little bit more interest than I have to, but it's not going to be a big deal with this student loan. So 37998.46, and I delete. And then now what happens is $555 payment goes away. And now the cash flow is almost 4 grand. All right, so now I need to update the cash flow. Whoopee. So this is going to be 3972.47. And yeah, so now this is 46 months. So 46 months, it's completely paid off. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, so now it's 160K and 46 months. I believe it's 46. I have a really bad memory. Yeah, 46 months. Okay. And so now, okay, now the only thing left is really a 30-year mortgage, right? And so if we take a look here, type 46. So we're going to do something called chunking. So what is chunking? It's just moving a piece of the loan into the line of credit and then just paying it off over and over again. So most important thing when it comes to paying off the debt is that you just follow the debt payoff order and you pay off the mortgage last. Why do you pay off the mortgage last? It's because if I focus on the mortgage first, I only get $927 back in my cash flow. Whereas if I pay this $30,000 credit card debt, I get more cash flow back than in the mortgage, right? So that's really how that works and why you pay off the mortgage last. All right, so let's go ahead and do this and put in all the details. All right, so now delete, 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 delete. And what's our monthly income? It is 6,400. And in the expenses column section, you just put everything except for the loan you're trying to pay off. So this is really this expense section right here, 1,500, which is our general expenses. And then we're going to just do a $7,000 chunk. And then what is the original balance? The original balance is 220, right? So 22000. Current balance is 201,620.01. 201,620.01. And then the payment amount is 927.53. So 927.53. And then you see it gets paid off in 3.7 years. Woohoo. All right. So, yeah, that was easy. So, oh, dang, that was really easy. So 0, let's see, 0. And then, so now that's 46 divided by 12 plus 3.7. So that's 7.53 years. And then we are completely debt free. So that would be 160 plus 220. So that's 380K debt free in 7.53 years. Yep. All right. So, anyways, yeah, I don't really know
I hate being
what to do when I watch these videos because I kind of feel depressed in a way. It's like, let's work together to make a better world. And obviously, we don't live in that world. I don't think we do. But anyways, all right, well, that's it for today, folks. Create Land to Mentorship. So stay tuned because I'm going to try to create the best cult ever and take your money and provide no value. All right, well, have a great day, everybody, and I will see you on the next one.